Now, if this keeps happening, it's not random, it's not nerves, and it's definitely not because you're just broken. Right? There's a very specific reason why you're struggling with ED, especially with real women. And most guys never fix it because they don't know the true underlying causes. I've gone over 500 days cumulatively on NoFap and even cured my corn-induced ED. And once I understood what was actually causing this, the problem stopped completely. And now I help men solve this exact same issue with a fraction of the time and none of the trial and error, struggling for years and years on end. Now, what's really going on here? Number one, your dopamine threshold is completely cooked. It's cooked, right? So let's think about it, right? You have a threshold of dopamine, right? You go outside, you see nature, it makes you happy, you get the sunlight, it makes you happy, right? All these things, right? It makes you feel good. And then what happens, right? You get things like social media, right? You see the corn, you see all these artificial stimuli that what do? Your baseline is normally here. And what happens is it jacks it up, right? It puts it up to here. So when you were here before, now you're here. And what happens, right? Then when you get with a real partner, people tend to struggle, right? Because they're not getting the same level of dopamine. And there's basically a disconnect between where your brain thinks it should be and where the actual real situation is, right? And what happens then? Real partners cannot compete with the artificial stimulation. And of course, man, even AI is basically going to create anything you want nowadays, which makes it even more dangerous because even more people will get stuck in that cycle, right? And pretty much it just shuts down your arousal, right? And you just basically can't make it work, right? You got to take time, you got to reset and understand where you're at and really try to fix things and lower that baseline. Obviously, that's taking time away, getting back to the real dopamine, right? Away from the screens and all that. Number two, your lifestyle doesn't support arousal, right? So how many people nowadays, man, I mean, of course, it's the new year, right? So you're going to have people that are going to want to go ahead, get in the gym, do all these things, but most people fall off, right? And a lot of people don't even consistently get in the gym nowadays. And just working out doesn't even have to be necessarily in a gym, is one of the most important things you can do. And the reason being is because it helps boost blood flow, right? And poor fitness can limit that baseline, right? Or limit your energy, limit your blood flow. And of course, even on top of that, bad nutrition, it makes things even worse, right? So if someone's not working out, they're not getting good nutrition, right? They're not eating healthy foods. And then they wonder why they can't perform, right, with a partner. You have to look at it like you are an athlete, right? You might be a different level than all these other people, than LeBron or any of these other people, but you are an athlete and you have to fuel your body for performance, right? And you got to optimize your diet for what you want it to perform for, right? If people are cycling or doing a lot of running, what do they normally do? They have a lot of carbs because they want to fuel for the run. So if you want to perform well with a partner, you got to think of your diet the same way, right? You got to eat foods that are going to help just the blood flow as well as overall hydration, right? And of course, even when we talk about stress as well, right? Stress is another huge thing that when you're in that fight or flight state, of course, you're not going to respond the same type of way, right? In general, right? In order for a man to, right, get it up, what happens, right? The blood vessels have to relax and blood can flow through. But if you're stressed, right, and people have so much stress nowadays, you can't expect to be able to perform, at a high level and even be able to get it up or keep it up if you're having chronic stress all the time. Now, number three, social media keeps you overstimulated, right? Now, think about social media, right? What actually is this? Social media, right, is a platform that's designed to keep people on the platform as long as possible. They spent millions of dollars on basically keeping you on the platform as long as possible. And how do they do that? Especially for men, right? What happens? They see men and they say, okay, what's going to keep this man on here as long as possible? I'm going to show him that, right? And a lot of times, it might be the shorty that's not wearing too much, right? And that, of course, the way your brain works, you see that thing and it gives you a spike in dopamine. So you want to keep scrolling, you want to keep seeing things. And what happens is that just keeps you on the platform longer. They make more money off you from the ads. They're profiting off of you basically being addicted to the platform, right? And what happens again, it's that same sort of thing to where this is a super stimuli and your baseline is here, and boom, you get the super stimuli, and then you struggle with a real partner. So really help quitting the corn and any of the artificial stimulation that, gets you excited when you do see it can help a ton. Now, if you're dealing with corn-induced ED, right, you're struggling, but when you're by yourself, right, you watch things, you're okay, but when you're with a partner, you freeze up, things are not working well. You want a step-by-step foundation to walk you through exactly how this is done. Click the link in bio and book a free call, and let's see how I can help you. Now, number 4, it's just anxiety. This is a cope for a lot of people, right? Because there's this whole idea of performance anxiety, and people say that, okay, this is going to cause people, right, to be in that fight or flight state, and then they're not going to be able to perform, which could be true. But for probably majority of people, a large portion of people, that's not really the case, right? Because if you think about it, right, if you train and put your body in the right position, right, you fuel it correctly, you do all the things, right? Let's say you're working out, right? You train, you put the time in necessary, right? Let's say you play a sport, right? You put the time, you practice. What happens when it's game day, right? Sure, you may be nervous, but your body and your mind basically shut off and you just perform, right? And that's the same way we want to look at this, because that can happen, right? Someone can be anxious for sure, someone can be a little nervous, but if you fuel your body in the right way, it's going to perform exactly how you want it to, right? And a lot of times people like to use the anxiety, in my opinion, as a coping mechanism, right? But what happens with that is that the body, right, will learn certain patterns over time. So if someone, right, is performing, if someone's trying to perform, right, with a partner, they're struggling, what happens? They get this negative thought in their mind that, okay, any time they're going to, try to perform, they get nervous. They're not sure if they can actually make it happen. Because what? Because it's the negative programming that they've had, right? So you have to also understand that there's also some limiting beliefs that you have as well. If you've had a negative experience in the past about anything, the next time you're performing or trying to do something, you're going to think about that negative experience, right? That's just human nature. So you have to understand that those patterns are also working against you, right? And that anticipation, right? You being kind of unsure is also another huge reason why people tend to have that, anxiety. Now, last point, you can't fix this by trying harder, right? A lot of people just think, man, I'm just going to put in more work. I'm just going to try harder, but they're still struggling, watching the corn, watching all these different things. And they wonder why they're in the same place, and it's the new year, right? And they're still in the same place, still struggling, right? So if you really want to change that, right, it's not willpower, right? It's not motivation that's going to change things for you, right? It's systems that hold you accountable, right? Systems that keep you going, keep you consistent, and you're not so worried about, falling off here or falling off there, or not having enough willpower or motivation one day, because you have systems that understand the foundation of the problem. What are the different variables that go in to fix this issue, and how can you basically monitor and manage this problem to fix it for good? Now, once you understand this, it changes everything and it officially becomes fixable. Now, if you want a clear plan to reverse your corn-induced ED, you struggle to keep it up with a partner, man, click the link in the bio, book a free call, and let's see how I can help you solve this for good.